the Pod Network Entertainment.
What's going on? This is Xavier Woods, a.k.a. Austin Creed.
Welcome to the big time!
Hello, WWE Universe in the Philippines. This is Charlotte.
You know your damn role and shut your damn mouth.
Hey everyone, this is Jeff Cobb.
I have to finish the story.
We are pretty deadly. Yes, boy. Yes, boy.
Hello, my name is Ilya Dragunov, the Star.
Bang! The sniper is shooting you down. This is TMDK's Robbie Eagles, and you are listening to the Wrestling Podcast.
All right, you're catching the post-show or the audio-only part of the Wrestling Podcast live stream. It's still Stan, Ro, and Chino, and we've got some more wrestling to talk about just because we've got a huge weekend of pay-per-views. Daming ganap in the world of wrestling for this weekend. So let's start off with Raw because even though it's not a main roster PLE weekend, grabe, the writing around Jey Uso moving to Raw has actually been very, very good. You've got all of the different reactions from the Judgment Day to Kevin and Sami Owens, according to Michael Cole, see Cody Rhodes, The New Day, Drew McIntyre, all of them have reacted to Jey Uso differently. And I actually think it's so fresh kasi it's very human, diba? Now, when a new element has been added into the mix, everybody reacts their own way, which is very different from how we used to see yung mga one-off transfers to different brands ng WWE in previous years. So what do you think about all of this?
Ang ganda lang kasi it's an acknowledgement of the role Jey Uso played in the much larger Bloodline storyline. It's been the most prevalent storyline we've had in the past few years. So na maganda na in-acknowledge din nila na may effects yan, that he had a part to play. And I also like how they're making Jey Uso the linchpin for all these different storylines. Parang siya yung Nexus event in terms of the MCU. Yeah. Because he's right there in the middle, di ba? Kahit saan siya mapunta, nandun siya. So they're really making the most out of Jey Uso here. Ang ganda lang din tingnan. That somebody who's been in a tag team for so long can still stand out like that.
Yeah, it's not just an acknowledgement of Jay's role, but it's also like proof na yung stories that directly involve Jay, they're not on an island on the Raw show, diba? In Vince's time, like if this happened under Vince, it would just be okay. It's just Jey Uso and Cody Rhodes, and then the Judgment Day. Tapos yun lang. Nobody else is allowed to feel or express or outright show how this affects them. So ang ganda talaga. And then yun nga, Chino said it was a Nexus event, and it's also one of those things na you feel the entire locker room react to. Kasi yun nga, diba so I think it was Sami who said that, or Kevin Owens who said that nobody likes you in that locker room.
Yeah.
And they proved it. And then not only does the locker room react, but the locker room also reacts within themselves about how they react to Jay. Diba? Like,
right.
Last week, Drew McIntyre didn't do anything to stop the Judgment Day attacking Jey Uso. And then now Kofi and Xavier Woods have a problem with that. And that's really great. That's really great characterization that shows na yung mundo nila, they're already aware of everything else. They're not just aware of themselves. And I really, really like that because I don't know if we've ever seen that before in other wrestling companies, maybe in New Japan, but it feels like whenever you book a card or whenever you book a TV show, in a wrestling TV show, parang yung trope is I'm only involved in what I'm only involved in.
Yeah.
So I don't know if there's an example out there that disproves that, but it feels like this is the first time it's happened in wrestling TV. Maybe Lucha Underground, I don't know.
Yung maganda rito with the New Day and Drew McIntyre interacting with one another, it's like a secondary story kasi Jey Uso isn't even directly involved anymore. It's now really just the New Day and Drew beefing. You've got the New Day who's got the layer of respect for the Usos because of their rivalry, diba, in the mid-2010s. So there's some built-in respect even though they're not necessarily friends. And then there's Drew McIntyre who's in this slow descent into heel territory, which I'm really enjoying kasi very understandable din yung pinanggagalingan niya. Hindi siya parang si Kevin Owens. Si Kevin Owens, very righteous yung anger niya. Na parang, how can we forgive this guy for everything he's done to us over the last blah 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 years? Yung kay Drew, it's very much, hindi ako naawa sa'yo, tangina mo, bahala ka sa buhay mo. Which I think are very distinct.
Kevin Owens would have been the same way if Sammy wasn't there to, be the angel on his shoulder.
Yeah, that's a great point. But still, the fact na nandyan si Sammy makes Kevin Owens different in his reactions vis-a-vis Drew McIntyre na talagang wala na siyang pakialam. Like, this is a very different Drew McIntyre we're getting. You wrote in your review, Rona, it's one bad day Drew McIntyre. And if you get the reference, diba, it just takes that one last push hanggang sa pumitik bigla itong si Drew. And I can't wait for that one little push to happen.
Yeah, ang ganda lang din kasi they used another character to turn Drew heel or to push him a little bit more to that alignment. So I don't think I've ever seen that before where another story inadvertently affects this other story or another character inadvertently affects another character. Gusto ko talaga makita yung mind map na ginawa ng mga writers nito para lang diba, mahimay natin talaga kung ano pa talaga yung layering na ginawa nila. Because again, ever since this regime change happened, next level storytelling. And this is no different.
The mind map thing is a great point because I think Tony Khan has been booking yung long-term stories, and I think I'm sure that the Bloodline with Paul Heyman have been booking these long-term stories, but I think they just use a calendar like week 1, ito yung mangyayari, week 2, ito yung susunod, and then we plot out what happened all the way to the whatever culmination there is. But this one, the mind map, you have this happening here, then you have this one happening there, and then they're all tied together. Diba? So that's pretty cool, and I want to see more of this if the TV writer crew can keep up with this pace of output, with this pace of mental effort required to tell these layered stories.
Sana rin tayo as audiences hindi tayo mapagod because like the three of us are clearly really excited and thrilled about this, but we also don't speak for the majority. So I hope that the majority, the masses, however you want to call the larger wrestling fandom, sana hindi rin sila mapagod sa pagsubaybay sa ganitong klaseng storytelling. Kasi ako, natutuwa talaga ako dito eh.
Yeah, people already rebelling against the Bloodline, so there's that. That's also its different conversation because there are people questioning the whole Jimmy Uso thing, but that's another time.
Yeah, that's for another day. All right, who do you think's getting traded to SmackDown? We've been asking this question for weeks now, and I
bring up the
yeah, they brought it up themselves, which is good. At least hindi nila kinalimutan, diba? It's got to be one of KO or Drew, no? Or maybe Cody?
I think it's Cody. I think he engineered it to put himself back where Roman Reigns is. Pero
may hidden agenda pa lang.
Yeah, exactly. He used to be an EVP after all. So I think that's that. Although I think it's funny na yung trade hindi sabay. Like imagine if Dame was traded to
Milwaukee,
Bucks, pero hindi pa nag-effect until after the season started.
Yeah, sobrang bobo. I don't understand why the trade hasn't been fully consummated.
It only happens like Royal Rumble time. Oh, Cody Rhodes.
Trade na pala ako. Trade si
Remember
Jey Uso.
that time we said somebody was going to get traded like 6 months ago?
Yeah.
Ikaw, Chino, sino hula mo na matitrade?
Yeah, Cody's a good choice. Kasi, di ba, he's all about finishing the story, quote unquote. So, yes. How they pull it off is really the bigger question here. Kasi he's embroiled in this Judgment Day teaser Survivor Series match that that may or may not happen. So whether or not they put the trigger on that is still up in the air. Kasi nga, malaking bagay din yung Cody versus Roman Reigns in the future.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's switch gears and talk about NXT. We got what seemingly is our first teaser about Brian Pillman Jr. And the clues we got were the Cincinnati Bengals. They were featured in that vignette. And a shot of WCW programming. Both of them are linked to his late great father, Brian Pillman. So, Chino, as the older fan here in this conversation, what are your thoughts?
I like Brian Pillman for the limited time that I've had exposure to him. I was watching Team Canada from the WWE Attitude Era days on TikTok for some reason. Almost not just a feed ko. So it's nice to see that they're acknowledging Brian Pillman at least, diba, in canon. So I don't know what the gimmick is for Pillman Jr. However, I don't know if they're still going to go with the Varsity Blondes gimmick kahit mag-isa lang siya. I still want to see him though because I think he's really talented. Although a little underdeveloped, but still really talented. And the fact that they are attributing him to his father, his late father, is still pretty important. Sana hindi siya ma-broad breaker though. And by that I mean, sana hindi siya yung nakaasa lang sa Pillman name for like a majority of his career. So sana but that'll still be a lot later down in his NXT career.
Yeah, I think he's going to be Brian Pillman Jr. I think that's the gimmick, son of Brian Pillman. Because they already came out acknowledging Brian Pillman and, the Bengals and WCW too. Braun Breaker never had that. They never outright linked him to Rex and Scott, diba? So, sorry, not Rex. Rick. Sorry, Rick. He's shuffling Rex. So they... Charlie Dempsey never got linked to William Regal, even though the crowds
but then
were now
they
chanting.
did that whole storyline with Braun, diba? Na yung
After.
niya.
Pero, when he debuted, like, everyone knew he was Rick's son, pero they never said that outright. Kaya they went with a different name. Charlie Dempsey isn't tied to William Regal, even though the crowds are chanting Baby Regal now. I think one of them actively, voluntarily avoided the association. So, feeling ko ito na eh. I don't know what other gimmick you give Brian Pillman Jr. either. Like, he's so very obviously Brian Pillman because he looks just like his dad, right? And what else do you give him? Like, you're from AEW, Jade's from AEW too. So they're going to be coinciding with each other. I'm sure they'll find a way. I'm sure they'll figure it out. I think it's also a mistake if you don't use Brian Pillman either, diba?
Yeah, I think Brian Pillman is the biggest name from yung mga sinabi nating previous generation dads, right? Compare him to the Steiners or William Regal. I would argue that Brian Pillman is the biggest deal.
Yeah.
So if you don't use that lineage, I think you kind of do drop the ball there. Because I can't think of... Well, okay, maybe there's The Rock and Ava. Pero iba kasi yung iba yung situation dun with Ava. Like, I think if you give her the Johnson name right away, I think that puts such a huge cloud naman over her.
I mean, arguably, the Steiner name might have the same effect.
That's true,
They've been around for so long.
Yeah.
Right? So, maybe not. But
now I really want to know what the selection process is like. How do they decide na, okay, we're gonna use this legacy name. Okay, we're not gonna use this legacy name.
Baka may options sila na, okay, you don't want to be tied down with the legacy of your ancestor, diba? You don't want to
Pero nakawid mo yung tights niya tsaka yung bulldog headlock niya.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, we'll see. But Brian Pillman Jr. in NXT is pretty much a sure thing. So let's get it. All right, let's get to the good stuff. Predictions once again, because we've got AEW WrestleDream. And once again, Tony Khan has stacked a 10-match card for us to enjoy on a Monday morning. So good luck na sa ating lahat. Let's get to it. Ricky Starks versus Wheeler Yuta. Ito medyo weird because Wheeler Yuta is essentially Brian's Chawariwap at this point, right? So to put this on the WrestleDream card is so strange.
I guess okay lang din. Wheeler Yuta has the pedigree of being a best of Super Juniors participant a couple of years back. So at least NJPW ties niya nandun. You're right, Chawariwap lang siya ni Brian, and as we said last week, Ricky Starks needs a big W, and this is the opportunity to do it.
Yeah, they needed to give they needed to have something for Starks to do, and I feel like ito na yun, unfortunately for Wheeler Yuta.
Yeah.
Sigh. Zooming out, Ro, you mentioned yung NJPW tribute kasi this was supposed to be an Antonio Inoki tribute show, diba? So what do you guys think about the NJPW DNA on this show? Enough na ba to? Or would you have wanted to see something different if this really was supposed to be some sort of Antonio Inoki tribute AEW/NJPW crossover event?
I mean, obviously you can't get Nakamura, pero you should have gotten Okada. I think you owe Okada a better match than yung match where Brian Danielson got injured, diba? You owe Tanahashi a good match as well. I think there masyadong kulang yung nangyari. Like, I don't know why they weren't able to wrangle these people. Maybe because they're in the middle of their own tours, but maybe that's why. Really, they're in the middle of their own tours right now.
They couldn't even get Suzuki.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, you're right.
Diba?
Yeah. Oh, the murder.
Normally Suzuki's the easiest one to get, and he's not here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Sayang kasi now it just feels like again a Tony Khan production na nagfa-fantasy booking na lang siya ulit. Diba? And he's just using Antonio Inoki's name, which I feel like is in bad taste at this point. So parang it's like a tribute show pero parang hindi mo justify yung tribute mo. So is it really a tribute? Like, or are you just saying are you just saying that it's a tribute show, diba, by name? So ako, like I would have rather seen Okada on the card, Suzuki on the card. I'm glad Shibata made the cut, but that's probably because he's in LA now. So maybe a few of the LA Dojo boys, why not? But sobrang kahit yung part na yun, medyo kulang pa sila eh. So I maybe even some Joshis, I don't know, man. Ang dami pa na pwedeng gawin sana instead of filling it out with AEW talent.
Ito, yung number one contenders match for the AEW Tag Team Championship. You've got Orange Cassidy and Hook, the Lucha Bros, the Guns, and the Young Bucks. And the only team here with New Japan experience is the Young Bucks.
Oh yeah, nga pala. Almost forgot about that. I don't think they're going to do Bucks FTR again. So I want to put this on the Bucks. The Guns. Guns have been really good lately.
The presentation's great.
Yeah, naging relevant na sila. So you go and capitalize on that and have them. And they are the Bullet Club as well. So that's the NJPW thing as well.
Yeah.
So why not? I'd like to see them, go after FTR.
Yeah, the Guns Bullet Club era has been really good. So I say Guns as well. Naging relevant na nga sila, like you guys said.
Ito, TBS Championship. Neither woman has had any New Japan experience, but you've got Chris Statlander defending against Julia Hart.
Julia Hart's gotten so good, but I don't think she's ready just yet. So Stat is one of the best new women's champions that they've had so far. So I'm pulling for her to retain.
Yeah, Statlander as well.
All right. Next up, ito, yung talagang may New Japan connection. The ROH World Championship and NJPW Strong Openweight Championship are on the line. It's Eddie Kingston defending against Katsuyori Shibata. Shibata's also the ROH Pure Champion, but somehow he's not defending his championship here.
So are they unifying these belts now?
No, they're not. They're not. Eddie just happens to be a double champion. You can't unify another company.
Weird that both. It's also weird that both of them are up at the same time, though. I mean, they're technically.
I can say one man has them, so
Okay, I guess.
Shibata is on loan from New Japan, so it's just gonna come back to him, if ever. I think they saddled Eddie for this, so I think I don't know how, but Eddie's gonna win this one.
Yeah, ako din. I think it's a bigger testament to Eddie Kingston. Like the win against Shibata does more for Kingston than Shibata beating Kingston, if that makes sense. Because he just won these titles. He had this whole story they had to go through against Claudio. So ako, Kingston ako dito.
All right. Next up, the TNT Championship. Darby Allin versus Christian Cage. Ito si Christian at least may New Japan experience din.
Oh yeah, right. God.
That one cup of coffee.
You do forget about the TNA partnership now. Yeah.
Wow. 2000s.
Yeah.
If Tony Khan is smart, he would leverage Christian's newfound meme fame and just keep him champion forever. I think that was him. That's why he officially won the championship from Luchasaurus. Yeah. So my pick is Christian. He's too relevant now for him to lose.
Same. Also because I feel like Darby winning again doesn't really do anything for Darby.
Yeah.
Whereas keeping the title on Christian might actually push the story a little bit more. It makes him more detestable.
Yeah, he gets more challengers, more opportunities to talk shit about dead parents.
Yeah. I love it pag nangkakalkal siya ng family history. Oh, may patay ka na relative. Let me
I saw a meme. I saw a meme that said, as long as Christian Cage as part of the roster, let's keep him away from Christian. And it's a picture of -1. So it's like,
oh no.
so the fact that he's that over, that they can go with a meme like that, so good.
Yeah. -1's not gonna be wrestling for another 5 years, diba? So, I think he's safe for the next
He's
5
the next Nick Wayne, though.
Oof. Oof. All right, ito, trios match. It's the Don Callis family na may New Japan connection, obviously because of Ospreay. And then on the other side, Chris Jericho, Kenny Omega, and Kota Ibushi, all of whom have wrestled in New Japan.
May New Japan connections.
Yeah. I'd put the Don Callis family over. Like, I think it's time. Deserve naman nila. Yeah.
Interesting, because I had the faces winning.
Really?
So, yeah.
I mean,
I don't know.
Sammy just turned, diba? So
yeah, well, that's also fair. So that's again. I'm still gonna side with Jericho and company.
Okay.
All right. Sobrang hardworking na Don Callis and Takeshita because they flew from Dynamite last week all the way to Japan.
Just
Our
to
friend
shoot.
Lance actually just got to watch them live in a DDT show where they ran an angle with Jericho, and then they shot more vignettes at Ibushi's place, and then they flew back in time for the next Dynamite live event. So holy crap!
Well, what is jet lag, diba?
Galing nga nila eh. But anyway, yeah.
Yeah, super hardworking. I just gotta call that out because it's very impressive to me. Next up, handicap match for the ROH Tag Team Championship. It's MJF versus the Righteous. Now, I'm sure walang New Japan connection na that Adam Cole has been taken out of it.
Womp womp.
God. I'm gonna imagine fucking MJF losing to the fucking Righteous.
Yeah, I don't see a world where any of them pin MJF. So I don't know how they do it. Siguro shenanigans as usual because it's MJF still. So yeah, there's no world where Vincent or Dutch pin MJF. So
God, I hate this so much.
There's something about the Righteous. Now, it makes me want to watch them, but then when I think now they're trying to be Bray Wyatt, I just get angry. You know what I mean? Like, I have nothing against Vincent and Dutch personally. It's just
yeah. You're right.
It's not them. You know what I mean? Like, they're not the ones who are supposed to like fill the shoes of Bray Wyatt. I don't think anyone can.
Sabi ni Glendale, apparently Bray Wyatt, may basbas ni Bray Wyatt yung gimmick ni Vincent.
And wasn't it rumored like a while back na si Vincent si
si Uncle Howdy,
yeah, there we go. Yeah, right. Like kasama siya din sa rumor mill. Yeah.
I don't disagree that Bray. I don't doubt that Bray's too nice to to claim ownership, to defend, to be territorial about his gimmick, diba?
Yeah,
I can believe it. It's just that you see it and you just think Bray Wyatt, and then it's not the same. Diba? I mean, like.
Yeah. It doesn't help na patay na si Bray.
Yeah, exactly. And Vincent isn't even as physically imposing as Bray. So, yeah, I hate everything about this. I'm gonna hate it even more if they end up being booked to beat MJF, which is not really likely. Kasi mag-isa lang sa MJF. Adam Cole's gonna be out for months. So,
feeling ko shenanigans lang talaga to.
God, I hope
the way
so.
He wins.
Please put Roddy into this.
Adam. You should put that on
God.
soundboard.
Yeah, you should. God, I hate it. I'm hoping against hope MJF wins this.
Ikaw, Chino.
MJF then. I don't see I don't see a world where they pin the AEW champion.
Yes.
All right. I get it. AEW Tag Team Championship. Ito at least parehong may New Japan experience. FTR versus Aussie Open. Can FTR lose now? They're not retiring apparently. They're signed until like 2027 or some shit. Right. So I'm done with the FTR Tag Team Championship reign. Parang wala na nangyari.
Yeah, they were hitching their saddle to CM Punk, diba? And then now Punk is gone. They did the new feud with the Young Bucks, and then that went over. But Punk is gone now, so they can't be interesting without him. Yeah, you're right. Let's have Aussie Open win this. I think they're pretty good.
Yeah, I can see that happening. Them dropping to Aussie Open, especially since Aussie Open has really worked hard to establish themselves. So I can see that happening.
All right. Next up, a special singles match, as New Japan would call it, between Hangman Page, a New Japan alum, and Swerve Strickland. And I just gotta say that TK was such a heel this week by scheduling Swerve Strickland's entrance during the commercial break. So hindi tayo nakapag-nana because even Swerve himself stopped Nana from doing the Nana.
Hometown boy. I just wanted to comment on this feud kasi Swerve made a big deal about yung quote-unquote main event spot ni Hangman.
Yeah.
And okay, son, I would believe it if Hangman was actually a main eventer in the past how many months? He wasn't a main... He hasn't been a main eventer since last year versus Punk. So,
he's been pretty irrelevant.
So like I don't know what well, I guess he Swerve justified it that if he had that spot, back when Hangman was world champion, he would have been a lot more successful in it. So I guess there's that. But the more it drags on, like the more you say in a main eventer, like if you call Hangman a main eventer now, I wouldn't believe it. So
Di lang yun, Swerve blames Hangman for Swerve not being the first black AEW world champion.
Okay.
He mentioned that din kanina nung contract signing, which is such a stretch of logic now.
Yeah.
Even for like a heel na parang, wait, how did you connect point A to point B?
Wow, okay.
God, that's terrible writing. Okay, so if it were someone else, like who else could have been in Hangman's spot here?
Kenny?
No, and Kenny's busy. If Punk wasn't, such a dick. Yeah.
If Mox didn't get injured.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Nga pala,
Totoo. Yun, I want Swerve to win. Hangman is a non-entity at this point.
Yeah.
Even though he's technically the ROH 6-man tag champ.
Yeah.
Which some of you might have forgotten.
Oh, nga pala.
I've forgotten that.
Yeah.
If Swerve wins, I need Nana doing the Nana in the rings, while he's celebrating. I just need that.
I mean, Swerve has to be a face in Seattle, diba?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
so I
boy,
need Prince Nana to do his thing. That's all I want in my AEW television now, the Nana. All right, the main event, the dream match / special singles match between Bryan Danielson and Zack Sabre Jr. Ito, has Bryan competed in New Japan? Meron, diba?
Yes. No, not. Yeah, he has. As the American Dragon.
Ayun, so
but back when he was a young junior.
Right. So now this is supposed to be like the technical masterpiece talaga that I guess calls back to Inoki. I have no idea. But just the fact that it's a Bryan dream match, will probably put this in the main event slot. So does Bryan go over here?
That's a good question. I've been thinking about this a lot. I don't know. It's his home. I mean, quote unquote hometown, home state.
Home
I
state,
guess.
yeah.
Malapit sa Aberdeen.
Yeah, but ZSJ is the quote unquote young guy here. So I don't know. I want ZSJ to win, but he's not the one appearing on AEW, diba? Yung bucket list of last year matches ni Bryan, he's not losing in them. So it's not also an accurate assumption to make that he's putting people over on his way out. So yeah, I guess hometown hero wins, Bryan wins.
Mm-hmm. Parang naisip ko din who benefits more from the win, eh. Diba? Like, it'll be dependent on what ZSJ does with the win. Kung manalo man siya. That said, tama nga si Ro na nanalo siya dun sa mga or na siya dun sa mga dream matches niya. So maybe it doesn't hurt Bryan to lose to Zack Sabre Jr. And maybe Zack Sabre Jr. stays on with AEW for a bit.
If he put up the TV championship, the NJPW TV championship, I could see him losing. I could see Bryan losing to CSJ, but hindi eh. So I'm guessing they made that safe so that Bryan could win.
Ito na lang. I just hope Bryan does not get injured again.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
the last big match he was in, diba? He injured his elbow against Okada.
Yeah.
Like 10 minutes in. So I hope na walang injury sa mangyari, na walang aberya, and that we finally get this match underway.
It's supposed to be a technical match, so it should be a little more low impact.
Walang hard hits.
Yeah. Good luck na lang sa ating lahat if we're gonna try to watch this on a Monday morning with or without work. However you decide to watch it, good luck to you. May the wrestling gods be ever in your favor. Last question here, heading into WrestleDream. What do you think about this new era of AEW na pinapromise si TK? Kasi sabi niya, one era ends and another begins. Oh, duh! Di ba ganda naman talaga? When something ends, another begins. Duh! So like, what is this new era of AEW na kinukuda ni TK?
I just think it's the era post CM Punk. Parang, alam mo yan, parang new emperor sa Japan.
Bagong yugto.
Yeah. The Danielson era of, or the MJF era of AEW, but which has already been happening. Yeah, maybe that's it. I don't know.
Anything Tony Khan says at this point, parang I have to wait and see.
Yeah.
And dami niyang sinasabi. So,
Di mo ba naniwala na his safety was in jeopardy?
this man just talks out of his ass a lot of the time. So parang I'd rather just wait and see kung ano man tong new era na sinasabi niya. Let it happen first.
My realistic expectation is that, or guess is that they'll be putting on more pay-per-views like WWE does in a year.
Balita they're planning 12 pay-per-views for 2024.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Step up.
Kasi they're gonna be on a streaming service. They're gonna be on Max as well.
So yeah, something to, I guess, watch out for if
I mean, they might
also itong branding na to.
Sorry, also, now that you mentioned the streaming service, baka nga doon na bumalik yung mga Elevation. Format, diba? So that maybe that's part of the new year they're promising. Maybe that's where Tony Khan puts this all-female show that he wants to do. Or maybe he puts ROH
na cash flow tsaka mga OVW wrestlers.
Nakakatawa na pinakita pa nila the wrestlers yung Elevation episode ni Cash Flow. Like, I actually remember watching that too.
And I don't remember that.
I remember watching that and thinking, why is there a preacher next to a homeless man? Like, what kind of trio is that supposed to be? Yun pala OVW pala sila that.
Si Reverend Roddy.
Yeah.
So there, that's the post-show audio-only bit for you. If you have any reactions, any comments you want to get in there, you know where to find us on Twitter and on TikTok. It is at Wrestling2XPod, or individually, it is at Chino Supersized, at Rowiswar, at EML_Meister, at Monday Night Rowan, and at _Stan C. For Chino Liao and Romoran, my name is Stan C. That's it for the post-show of the Wrestling Podcast.
Peace.
The opinions of podcast creators, hosts, and guests are not necessarily reflective of the official stance of the Pod Network Entertainment, its hosts, or other network programs. The content created by the people behind the podcast is personal and not meant to harm any religion, ethnicity, group, organization, company, or individual.